Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Malware Analysis Workshop. Today, I'll be going over a few different ways a person might go about analyzing some malware. So we're going to jump straight into it. For this workshop, you should be able, you should download VirtualBox and the OVA file that I have provided, um, so that way we can actually do some actual testing and get some hands-on experience. What is malware analysis? Malware analysis is a study and process of determining the original potential and impact of a potential malware, so a virus, worm, or Trojan horse, backdoor, ransomware. The different type of way to analyze malware, we have a static analysis where we analyzing the the file without executing it and just looking at the PE header, the code, and strings, and various different compilers of the malware without actually running it. And behavior analysis, we are actually running the malware and seeing how it behaves in the environment, um, if it's potentially going to the internet, or changing files, or deleting files, or adding new files. So we're gonna jump straight into it. To set up, we'll need to import the VM. We'll need at least 1 gig of RAM, and we're gonna disable our virtual adapters, as we will actually be running the malware on our virtual machine. And we're gonna take a couple of snapshots before we actually begin any further work after we set up our VM. So let's jump into it. So once you download your OVA file, you will need to open your VirtualBox installation. We'll go to File, and we'll click in Import. Choose the section of your file, of your OVA file. Just for example, we'll do Sandbox. We'll click Open, click Next. The settings, all the settings should be fine. Once you verify all your settings are correct, click Import. I'm not going to click Import because I already have a copy on my virtual machine. The next thing that we want to do is that we'll go over and create our network adapter, so we'll actually start working and disable our network adapter so it does not connect to the internet. So for this, we'll go to Machine, and we're going to go to, we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Host Network Manager. You'll come to this window. I already have one created. So what we'll do, you won't have one created already, so you'll have to create one, and it automatically create one for you. You can use the default. The default would be 556, 56, so that'll be fine. Once you change everything, hit apply, and you can close this out. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to turn on your VM. So you should be able to here, click on your VM, and you should be able to click Start. Mine is already started, so it won't give me that option. So here's our VM. So the first thing that we're going to do today is we're going to start off with a static analysis. I have this file that we think is potentially bad. So we want to open our PE Studio and see if it is. Oh, sorry, let me go back. Before we start anything, we are going to change our network adapter on here. So we're going to go to Machine. So we're going to go to Devices, we're going to Network, and we're going to click on Network Settings. On Network Settings, we're going to choose the host-only adapter. And then we're going to choose our virtual NIC that we created earlier. We're going to click that, and we're going to click OK. The next thing that we're going to do is, before we actually start any type of work, we're going to actually verify that we cannot ping anything. So we're going to we're going to click start. We're going to click start, and we're going to type in CMD. Doesn't see it. So we're going to click run. We're going to go to CMD, and we're going to ping Yahoo. Okay, we do not get a reply, so that's a good thing. We want to make sure that we're not able to get out to the internet before we actually start any type of work, so that way we don't accidentally infect our host machine. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to check Windows Firewall and make sure that Windows Firewall is disabled. So we're going to go to Windows Security. We're going to go to Virus and Threat Protection. We're going to scroll down. We're going to scroll down. Okay, so I made sure everything was turned off already. So you should have your virus and threat protection is managed by your organization. So I already turned everything off, so there's nothing else for us to do over here. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to machine, and we're going to take a snapshot. We're going to click take snapshot. I already created one, so yours should say snapshot 1. And once you see it, click OK, and it'll create a new snapshot. So that way we have a previous version that we could come back to if anything goes wrong, or after we're done, we could come back and reuse the same virtual machine and not have to reset everything back up. Okay, so now that we have everything set up, now we'll go into static analysis. So the first step is we're gonna open up PE Studio. And we're gonna drag over our file, and we're gonna drop it into PE Studio. And PE Studio will analyze the file, and it usually takes us a few seconds. So PE Studio will actually go out and analyze the file, and it'll give us a couple of indicators that potentially where we might see an issue that we might want to further look into this file. So the first thing that we'll see is we'll go to libraries and we'll look at the files. Usually most installed programs will have more than just one DLL file. DLLs are used to communicate with the computer, so that way your computer will know how much RAM or how much hard drive space that the installer will need. So usually you'll see about 5 or 6 or so DLL files, and not just one single DLL file. The other thing that we look at is imports. This particular file that we're looking at, it has only one import file. So usually most legitimate softwares would have more than one imports, and this one is actually a virtual ALAC, which is asking for additional memory when it runs. So we could actually take a look and see. It's asking for additional memory for the kernel 32, which is usually most malware would allocate more memory than they actually need to run additional programs in the background once you actually click on it. The other thing that we will look at the string. Just a little bit bigger. So we'll look at the string, and if you notice, here's the string, and it usually you'll be able to read some of the string if it's a legitimate program, but in this case we cannot read. There's like nothing there that we can actually come out and actually read and make something out of it. So that's one of the indicators that this is potentially a malicious software that we have here, because whoever wrote the program is hiding a few things that they don't want you to see. The other thing is, if we're connected to the internet, we'll see the total virus scan, and total virus is is an online software that scans a file, and it'll give you indicators if anybody else have come around and see if it's potentially a malicious software, or if it's actually valid or not. Another thing that we want to look at is we could look at the file type. So the file type is an executable. We know that. So if we had like a PDF and we dropped it in there and it'll send that the file type is executable, then we know that it's something else that we might want to look at. And the other thing on here that we want to look at is we want to look at your hashes. Most companies still use the MD5 hash method, but there's a lot of research in that it is actually not the best method to use when you're actually hatching a file. Some are preferring that you use the SHA-256 method, but if you take this hash and you put it in total virus, it'll run the hash against other hashes and see if that is potentially a malicious software that you are working with. Or just a quick Google search with this hash will give you some type of result as well. We can't go by the name of the name of the file, because anybody could come back and change the name of the file. So we typically go by the hash, one of the hashes. You won't have this on your end, but I grabbed a actual legitimate install of Firefox and wanted to show you how an actual legitimate software will look when you compare the two. So we're gonna put Firefox in here and we're gonna see how it compares. So any executable will have a hash, so we'll have the MD5 and the SHA-1 and SHA-256. Yes, it's an executable, and this description is Firefox. So one of the things that we wanted to look at comparing to our potential malicious software that we have is imports. Imports is still running, so we'll give it a few seconds. Okay. So, like I said, imports. So here's some of the imports that you'll see on a Firefox install, which is a legitimate program. So you'll see that this install actually have several imports, and it's just not one import where it's asking for extra memory. The other thing that we wanted to look at is the string. So we'll look at the string, and we'll go over and scroll over and look at some of the strings. So here's a string. Unlike the other one, you can actually make out some of the strings and see what is actually calling for. So if we scroll down further, so if we actually scroll down further, you'll see it actually have some readable strings on it that we can actually make out and get some extra information from. And then from here, you can actually see quite a few information as far as that that's on that particular install compared to a potential malicious compared to our potential malicious file that we're looking at, where it has no readable string at all. So the next step is that I want to go over is we'll go into a behavior analysis. This portion of this workshop is we'll actually go and actually execute the software and see how it behaves. But prior to that, we want to set up a few software so we can actually manage and watch what the software is doing. So on your desktop, you should have Progmon. We'll click on this, accept. So Progmon basically monitor the system, so it tell you everything that's going on. So we're not running anything, but you can see that the events are still growing. So it actually sit there and actually process every single task that's going on your Windows machine. So prior to this, we're gonna actually stop. We're gonna stop. Oh. We're gonna clear it. First we stop. We stop it from capturing anything. Then we're clear. So once again, this button right here, it starts and stop the caption, so that way you can see what is processing. So we're gonna stop all processes, and we'll have a little X once it stops. Then we'll clear the process, so that way we'll have a fresh view of what is actually running. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna open up our Wireshark, so that way if this software start trying to go to the internet or requesting or trying to reach anything outside of the computer, we can actually sit there and actually watch what it's actually doing. So sorry, Ethernet port. So we're going to stage this before. And there is one more thing I forgot to put in here. So on your Flare folder, you're going to go to Flare. We're going to go to Utilities. And we're going to scroll down and we're going to look for we're actually looking for Process Hacker. Click on Process Hacker. So Process Hacker is similar to Task Manager. So it'll show you it'll show you everything that's running right now on our computer. So this is everything that's running on our computer right now. So I'm gonna close some of these out so we can see everything a little bit better. Give me a second. I'm gonna pause this recording for a minute. Okay, sorry about that. I'm back. I haven't done anything. I was trying to get my screen to go bigger. I was trying to make my screen a little bit bigger, but that didn't work out as well as I planned it. So we're just gonna continue. So just gonna move this to the side so I can watch it. And we're gonna start our Wireshark capturing before we start anything. Actually, Wireshark already started capturing, so we'll leave Wireshark alone, and we're gonna come here and we're gonna start our process. We're gonna start our process monitor. gonna click that, and it's gonna start. Then we're gonna actually click on our software and see what it does. So it's running. Okay, if you notice, the file is gone, and if you notice, there's a new process that's running. So we have a Java process that is running, but we did not click on any Java. And let's see if there's anything else on the screen so far. So far, we haven't seen it install anything, so we'll give it a few seconds. Usually some software, some malware will actually need some type of interaction that's before it actually does anything to make sure that it's not in a sandbox and is not being analyzed. So usually we'll go in and open up a file, open up a couple of folders, and just move around and play with the mouse so it actually could do think that is actually on an actual workstation or a on a server, so it could start doing the things that it needs to do. So we'll just play around, go ahead and start and just type this PC. And we'll see. So I think we gave it enough time so it could do whatever it needs to do. So now we're gonna stop all of our capturing. So we're gonna stop. If you notice that our event so far was at 369,000 events since we actually started this. So we're gonna go in here. Wireshark didn't capture anything, so we're gonna stop Wireshark. Stop. No, we don't want to save anything. So, and we still have the Java process. So now we're gonna analyze what the file actually did. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna click File, we're gonna click Save, and we're gonna save it as a CSV. We're gonna click OK. If you have if you have one on your desktop already, it's okay. Just click Yes Replace, and it's gonna save everything. So from here, we can actually, if we have Excel, we can actually take the CSV file and open an Excel and actually look at some of the information in Excel. But being that we have well over 300,000 events, it might take a little while. So we're going to use a software that will actually take all this information and actually put it in the flow chart, so we can actually see what actually happened. So we're gonna click on prog dot, and we'll have prog dot open. Okay. Click cancel, and we're gonna click on that, and we're gonna find our file. We're gonna click open, and we're gonna come over here, and it's gonna analyze the file and find all the process that happens from the last time we captured. So the file's a little bit big, so it might take a few seconds. So we're just gonna wait for it to finish up. Okay, so this is everything that happened since we started it. Here's the file that we started, and here's the Java file that we saw that happened after we click on our exe. So we're gonna click on this. We're gonna double click. So is basically saying all the events that happen after this, show me all the events. And wait a second. One second. See what's wrong with this. Okay. So once we click on, I'm back. I forgot the step. So once we click on our file that we wanted, double click on it, then we click on refresh, and it's gonna grab the data from here and actually create a flow chart to see what happened after we click this process. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. I actually missed a step. But before we go any further, let's kill this process here. Let's kill this process. We're gonna terminate. Yes. So we stop that process. Now we're gonna go back. If you can, please close your proc dot, and we're gonna reopen proc dot. Click OK, and it's gonna come in the path to the dot. We're gonna go to this this UNC. So we're gonna go to this path. So we're gonna click on the ellipsis. We're gonna go to we're gonna go to this PC, C drive. We're gonna go to program files. Program file x86. We're gonna click here, and we're gonna go to bin, and from bin we're gonna click on .exe. We're gonna click open, and we're gonna click OK. So we're gonna go back over to the proc dot, and we'll go to the progmon. We're gonna click the ellipsis, and we're gonna go back to our desktop. We're gonna click logfile.csv. We're gonna click open, and we're gonna go back to the launcher, and we'll click on the ellipsis, and we're gonna let it run this file again so it could pick up all the process that happened while this file is running. It's gonna take a few more seconds. So we're gonna click on our process that we started. We're gonna click on it. Then we're gonna click on the refresh option. And this will generate a graph so we can see what actually happened. So from here, let's see if I can zoom in. So from here, we clicked on the process, and we notice that the process created another process. So our process that we clicked on, our software that we clicked on, it started its own process, and it created its java.exe process. The java.exe process then created some more process. So we could actually follow each individual line and see that it created a file. It created a file in here. And the file from here went in ahead and created some registry keys. So we could actually follow this and see step by step everything that it did. As you can see, it created a lot of registry key in our registry. So if you want to, we could actually, we're gonna go and we're gonna play this. So we're gonna start from the beginning. So from here we can actually see, zoom out. Oh, it's gonna be kind of hard to see. So we can actually see everything that happened on here. 1 second. So this is the process that it took. And give me a second. Make sure I forgot to put this. So from here, if you click on here, and we're gonna slow it down a little bit so that we can actually see. This option give you, it lets you play everything frame by frame to see everything that happened while the process started running. It's kind of hard to see, so we're going to zoom in a little bit. So our program created this process, which created this file. We'll start. That's kind of fast, so we'll start from the beginning. We'll do 10 frames. I'm going to click start, and we can see everything that happened in order while it was happening. So that way we can actually see which process started what, which process led to the other processes, and so on. And that is one way we can watch the behavior and see that it created several different files. Okay, so that is my introduction to malware analysis. So the only thing that we have left is we're gonna click no. So the only thing, so the system is actually still infected. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna come here. We're gonna shut down our. It's gonna do updates. I don't want to do updates. Let's see if I can do. Yours should not do updates. Let's see if I can shut it down when I'm doing updates. Shut down. Shut down my SD. Okay, so I guess mine's gonna do an update. So I'm gonna shut mine down. I'll be right back after my updates are done. So give me a few minutes. Okay, I'm back. So my VM finally shut down. So once your VM shut down, you're gonna click on your VM. You're gonna click on the bullets. We're gonna click on snapshot, and we're gonna click on the snapshot that we did. We're gonna click on restore. We're gonna click restore it. It's gonna create another snapshot, which is fine. It's basically creating another snapshot from what we just finished. So we're gonna click OK. So this is this first snapshot that we did, which is one, is our current one. So this is the current state. So what we're gonna do is it's saved now. So we're gonna click start and verify that our machine is actually up and running to before we started working. So if you notice, the file is back and everything that we had open is actually all gone now. So our machine is back to where we had it before we started working on it. It's going to do another. And you can see my updates are back. So everything's back to how it was before we actually started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to it's going to shut this computer down again. We're going to shut it down again. And what we're going to do, last thing we're going to do is we're going to actually delete this snapshot so we don't use it again. I'm going to click delete. I'm going to delete that snapshot. So that way we only have this one snapshot, which is our current one. And that is my intro to malware analysis. Please remember this is for educational purposes, so please do not distribute our test sample to anyone or send it out to anyone. If you want to share it, please make sure that anything that you share is password protected, so that way it doesn't accidentally get installed on a live system. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to try to answer any question that you have. Thank you guys.